through it. Congratulations, you kept my interest for half the book. I wasn't able to put it down, but now I've been too busy to get back to it, so thanks for making time to come in and talk about the book.
Thanks, Jim.
Tell us a little bit about it. What was your inspiration behind it, and what makes you think you could write a book?
Yeah, no kidding. It's a crazy feat. Well, I'll give you a bit of background. The book is a travel memoir about Australia, but the real story is where I came from when I left for Australia, which is I was in third year of law school. I was quite miserable, as you can imagine. Law students can be quite miserable.
Right.
I was an Anglo girl studying at this French university, so wretched. And I had just gotten dumped by this guy I was so in love with, and just like sick and miserable, and just decided I was going to leave it all, shuck it all off, and go to Australia.
Now, is the idea that you're going to Australia to get away from your problems? Was that the idea?
For sure,
okay.
Yeah. I was fully running away. I decided, I was on a bus to Ontario one day, and I was like, you know what? Instead of going back to law school, I'm just going to go to Australia. And I put a ticket on my credit card, and I was fully running away, and I was absolutely aware that that's what I was doing.
No, I've even got, I won't give too much of the book away, but yeah. I'm thinking it didn't work out running away from your problems.
Well, yeah, what I discovered along the way is that everything that's wrong in your life, you take it all with you when you go.
You just pack it up in your luggage, so to speak, as a metaphor.
That's exactly right. You pack it all. But the thing is when you're all the way on the other side of the world, you can be objective about all these things that you thought were such a big deal. So while you do take it all with you, you do get a chance to be suddenly outside of this crazy box that you put yourself into, and you can look at that box and be like, well, you know, I could loosen a screw here, and I could pull down this wall, and like you start to open it up and jump out, and eventually I, you know, came to live a completely different life.
So I understand your underlying commitment to the trip. What's the underlying message from the book, would you say?
Well, what I really want to do with this book is to inspire people to break out of these crazy boxes that we build for ourselves, and these traditional structures and things we feel like we're supposed to do in our lives. You know, like have a certain kind of job and wear a suit and make a certain amount of money and have a certain kind of life, you know? And a lot of people do that and end up getting really stuck and feeling like something's missing and wondering what happened. And so what I want this book to do, and I think the message behind this book, is that freedom is available to everyone, and that you don't have to go to Australia, because as I found out, you bring it all with you anyway. But this is available to anyone who wants to really break out and reject all this crazy BS that we put on ourselves, and just to go wild, you know?
Tarzan K is the author of In the Belly of Oz. Now, when you talk about the box, and I've heard you, we talked off air about this a little bit more, you're talking about mental boxes and the stories we make up in our head, and then we start to believe. I always kind of say we're like lawyers. We believe a lie, we create a lie, and then we go sell it like it actually has a life. We sell it to our friends, and our friends will say, "Oh yeah, I agree," and once in a while you run into one of your close friends, and you know what, that's BS.
Totally.
Don't sell that to me. That's not you. It's a lie you made up in your head. So
Absolutely.
Does that have any relevance to the book?
That's so exactly right. I was shelling out this crazy lie too of being a lawyer and wearing suits, and you know, I did a music degree before I went to law school. Like, law was the last place in the world for me to be with these French political science students, but I was working it. I was telling people I was going to be a lawyer, and I was going to do it different, but I would still be a lawyer. But you know, it was a big crock of BS.
Tarzan K is my guest. She's the author of In the Belly of Oz. Book signing at Chapters coming up today.
That's right. I'm heading down to Chapters right after the show. Chapters at the Fairview Mall from 1 to 4. I'll be there signing books. It's called In the Belly of Oz. And I would love to meet some readers and hear their stories of liberation and share the joy of.
Now, I've gotten into the book enough to know about your journey, and you know, you're so frank. I mean, right down to your alcohol consumption, the men and your sex. I mean, you said it's juicy. Yeah, halfway through, I can say it's juicy. Did you learn anything about yourself writing the book? Not so much on your journey, but writing the book. Was there anything that popped up for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, writing a book is so cathartic, especially writing a memoir. It's crazy the things that you learn about yourself. One of the things, I thought it was so easy to put out all this air all my dirty laundry, which I did with this book. But, you know, as it was coming to the publication date and I was coming up against dates that I had to give it to my editor or get this cover design done or whatever, I came up against so much resistance, so much stalling, so many
hurdles.
things that, crazy hurdles that I know I invented for myself.
Right.
Including, like, at one point my editor just went MIA and I
Right, that's in the book.
Yeah. So I discovered a lot of personal resistance that I still had that I thought I'd let go of with this big adventure, you know. But we all have these things that are, you know, we sort of block ourselves from doing the things that we know we really are supposed to be doing.
Did you find the writing of the book and touring around afterwards and talking to readers of it, is it therapeutic at any level for you?
For sure. It's therapeutic for the writer, for me. It's therapeutic for people to read, I think, because there's a lot of stuff in there that we don't talk about. You know, there's lots of debauchery and juicy stuff that I wouldn't normally tell someone or talk about on the radio. But yeah, a lot of people feel like when they read it, I get a lot of personal stories, or people will reveal things to me that they might not normally do just because they've read the book and it's all out there.
Right.
And I think people kind of realize, like, hey, I can be out there too, you know? Like,
now tell me a little bit, I'm glad you mentioned that, about the feedback. Yeah, I mean, some people got to feel like you're standing naked in front of them when you after they've read your whole book and they know you very well. It's an intimate look at your life and your thought patterns and everything, like I said. What's the feedback been for, especially people that know you versus people that don't know you?
Yeah, I think it can be a bit shocking, especially for people that know me. But as you know, Jim, because I know you're this sort of person, there is only now. There's all these things that we did in the past. You know, we all have done crazy things that we don't talk about now. But this is now. This is who you are now. This is who I am now. And this is the only person that there is. So when I think people kind of understand that when they read this book, that they're reading about a different person, you know, that's like this is a character in the book, and here's me right now, I'm standing in front of you, you know, so there's some distance there. Yeah.
Tarzan K is my guest. She'll be at Chapters at 3 o'clock today signing books. The book is called
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Sorry, In the Belly of Oz. I'm having a really good time with the book, so I'm glad that, you know, God puts people on your path all at the right time.
So true.
I really appreciate you coming in and say hi to your mother. I'm a big fan of hers as well. How was the family's reaction to all this?
They had read some of it along the way, but a lot of my family members are in the book. Because
they carry paper bags in the trunk of their car now, or they're proud of it?
No, I think they're all pretty proud of it,
Because it's a pretty stripped down look at your life, for sure, right?
It really is. It really is, yeah.
All right, pick us up, 1 o'clock, Chapters. Tarzan K is the author of the book In the Belly of Oz. It's held my attention. That's an accomplishment. So I'm having some fun. Thank you very much, Tarzan, for coming in.
Thanks,
Up
Jim.
next, Erica Sherwood. How many times can I make her blush in a 9-minute interview? That's one. Erica Sherwood is the star of Kind of Wonderful Thing. See how my brain goes to mush? That will be shown at the inaugural